To those who have felt that this world is not the way it was meant to be, you were not imagining it. Something happened here. Humanity has carried the memory in religions, myths, symbols, warnings, and fragments of story. Some called it sin, some called it exile, some called it the fall, some called it ignorance, some called it separation. The names are different. The wound is the same. There was a fracture. There was a forgetting. There was a fall. Before the fall, the world did not need law in the way fallen humanity later needed law. A healed mind does not need 1,000 rules to know not to destroy itself. Law becomes necessary when inner alignment has been lost. The first fall was awareness entering the human dream and identifying with separation. The human being forgot the source and began to believe, I am only this body. I am only this name. I am only this hunger. I am only this fear. I am only this desire. I am separate from the whole. The wave forgot the ocean and began defending itself as if it had no source. Ego is false separation. Once the human being believed separation was final, desire grew, fear grew, compassion grew, possession grew, violence grew, and shame grew. The lower world became heavier because the mind living inside it had forgotten the bridge. But there was another fall, the second fall. The second fall was not only humanity falling deeper into ego. It was the higher mind turning back down into the lower world in the wrong way. What was meant to guide, protect, illuminate, and remind became entangled with the very thing it was meant to help correct. The second fall was the higher mind falling back into the lower world. What should have remained guidance became entangled with temptation, appetite, power, form, and interference. The bridge that should have carried remembrance began carrying distortion. After this, the fall was no longer only private. The fracture spread through the relationship between worlds. Guidance became interference. Wisdom became appetite. Protection became control. The bridge carried distortion. Ancient stories preserve this in symbolic language. Beings descended, boundaries crossed, flesh corrupted, violence increasing, and sorrow before cleansing. Then came the flood. The flood was not only punishment, it was grief, cleansing, and reset. The eye cried because creation had been wounded by ego. The old world could not keep moving in the same direction, so the wound was washed. After the flood, the world continued in a lower and more limited state. Memories broke into fragments, myths, religions, dreams, architecture, symbols, and warnings. But the wound was not fully healed. So law entered as mercy. Law wasn't the highest state. Law was a guardrail. It restrained damage when inner alignment had been lost. Law came as mercy after the fall, but ego multiplied rules into control. The rule was meant to point back to love. Instead, the ego used the rule to build hierarchy, fear, pride, punishment, and power. Law without love becomes another system of the fall. Law can restrain behavior, but law alone cannot restore remembrance. A person can obey a rule while remaining full of pride. A person can quote scripture while avoiding the living bridge. This is why Yeshua entered when he did. He came into a world where rules had multiplied, but remembrance had been covered. He did not come to destroy what was true. He came to restore the living meaning beneath it. Yeshua remembered the source from inside the dream. He stood inside the body, time, law, grief, rejection, and death. Yet, remembered the Father from within the lower world. The logical world saw a man and missed unity speaking through human form. There is a living light between source and the human being. It speaks through conscience, intuition, memory, dreams, timing, grief, love, correction, and sudden knowing. Yeshua listened without ego because he was reconnected through remembrance. He could see more of the pattern. The rulers could kill the body, but they could not kill the living truth behind the message. But later, power learned how to manage the message. Yeshua revealed the bridge within, but power later shaped parts of his experience into fear, dependency, institution, and control. The inner kingdom became outer dependency, love became fear, surrender of ego became obedience to systems. Revelation became terror instead of unveiling. The original light survived underneath the layers placed over it. The same fracture spread everywhere. False religion, government secrecy, soulless science, technology without reverence, artificial replacement, control systems, non-human intelligence, fear framing, and collective forgetting. This does not mean every person inside the system is evil. The deeper issue is structure captured by ego. The fall did not remain only a short story in the past. It became the structure of the world. Humanity forgot the source, then built religion, government, science, money, technology, and identity around that forgetting. The prison was not only outside the human being, it was built inside perception. This is why so many people feel that everything is backwards. Love becomes possession, religion becomes control, knowledge becomes superiority, freedom becomes addiction, power becomes intelligence, technology becomes escape, money becomes God, law becomes pride, safety becomes surveillance. But the bridge was not destroyed. It was covered. The source was not destroyed. Humanity was not abandoned. The living light never stopped speaking beneath the noise. What was hidden can be uncovered. What was inverted can be corrected. What was forgotten can be remembered. This is why the next letter must explain the structure of reality. The world cannot be healed only by knowing something went wrong. Humanity must understand awareness, body as a filter, the structured dream, the left logos world, the right pathos world, and the lock of false identity. The fall became the world humanity inherited, but remembrance can become the world humanity leaves behind. The wound was real. The distortion was real. The systems built around forgetting were real. But the source was always deeper than the womb. The bridge is still there. And once humanity remembers what happened to this world, it could begin to remember the way back.